Thank you so very much, Mike. And it takes the postal workers to deliver on time. We have, we can take about 10 minutes for questions, because I want us to have the time for the tribute and not to be too late. So we're going to be late, but not too much. So maybe I can take a round of 3 or 4 questions and then go back to our panelists. Who would like to break the ice?
Recibir algunas ideas.
I will make a short comment and hope that we'll receive ideas from you later.
Un problema cuando nos asumimos en conferencias entre académicos, sindicalistas, luchadores sociales.
The problem when we are in conference in which when we mix academic, trade unionists, social workers, or social activists,
es que cuando decimos cómo continuamos con el trabajo, los sindicalistas tienen que ir a sus sindicatos, los académicos tenemos que ir a la academia, los luchadores sociales a sus organizaciones.
when we say how we continue our work from here, trade unionists has to go back to their trade unions, academics has to go back to the university, social activists have to go back to their social movement.
Y yo sugiero que como académicos nos asumamos como trabajadores, como sindicalistas y como luchadores sociales.
And I will suggest that us, as academics, take ourselves as also workers, trade unionists, social activists.
Y que vayamos con la idea de defender nuestras condiciones de trabajo, la libertad de cátedra, de investigación, de defensa de la educación pública, exigiendo más presupuestos, no depender de fundaciones o de apoyos de otros.
And that we work defending our working conditions, the right to freedom of education, the right to public education, the right to do the proper type of research, the right to have proper funding and not depend on foundations to help us to continue doing our work.
Y que también definamos que estudiamos a los movimientos sociales para transformar junto con ellos su realidad.
And that we also study social movements to work with them in transforming the reality.
No separados.
Not apart.
Y creo que la solidaridad, que es un concepto que colocó el compañero Postal,
And that I believe solidarity, that is a concept that put on the table by the members of the postal workers.
Es muy importante que tengamos la idea de que luchar por solidaridad, luchar con solidaridad, significa recuperar la idea de transformar sin explotación. No basta luchar por comercio justo, no basta luchar porque las empresas se porten bien, sino necesitamos recuperar el concepto radical. Radical quiere decir de raíz, de transformación de este mundo. Y creo que eso es lo más importante en este momento. No es caridad, efectivamente, es internacionalismo, no es solidaridad solamente.
And that when we work with solidarity, we have to work with the idea of transforming, the radical idea, radical from the root of transforming, no improving trade, no getting the companies to behave better, to transform the world. Solidarity, as he said, is not charity, it's internationalism, and that is what we have to work on.
Comments that you made, you talked about kind of challenging the hierarchies, those structures in the union movement. You have a long history in both at the community level and in the union movement. Those of us that have been activists in different capacities in the labor movement, especially racialized workers, women, indigenous, transgendered activists more currently, etc., have come across having to confront those bureaucracies, those structures. Maybe some more deeper reflections on that from your experience and what new generations of trade unionists need to do on that front.
Thank you, Ilian, for the questions. I think it actually should have a workshop on its own too, because in a way, what has been important in terms of the international trade union solidarity has been that sense of exchange. You know, for trade unions, activists or leadership in the North, to get a sense of what global South is like, as the speaker from Postal Workers had talked, it's not charity, and in a way, you know, the system of 1% versus 99% replicates all over the world. And for me, I think as a long-time activist in the labor movement here in Canada, my sense is there's only so much we can do when we are being nice. You need to push, you need to elbow your way in to reclaim the space. We've lost, you know, if I look at sort of back in from the 70s to now, we lost too many generations of racialized members who could be leaders. Or they shouldn't have taken the 20 years that long to become a steward in their workplace, compared to someone who is white, who's, you know, speaks English as a first language. And I think those are, I guess now I'm sort of coming up, doing it, the activists are more grounded on the sense, not just from rage, but more from a sense of love in terms of what we want the labor movement to be envisioned as. Because the stronger it is, the more united, or not united, the more diverse and the more inclusive it could be, the stronger the labor movement. And in a way, you know, with Trump, sorry, that giving, you know, the Trump era has emboldened the far right to be much more, quote unquote, politically incorrect seems to be now trendy. And so in that sense, it's how do we engage in a way that would take back some of that sense of decency. And I think at this point, it's for a lot of the racialized, sorry I'm jumping all over the place, I think it's also important for white brothers and sisters to recognize and support and just give a hands up for those who are racialized, who are women, who are from the different equity-seeking groups, so they can take, not just taking the leadership, I mean, in a way, in the CLC now we have Hassan, Yusuf, and Marie Clark Walker, but sort of structurally, what are some of the more meaningful engagement, so we're not being pigeonholed just as the spokesperson for equity issues, but we can be seen as phenomenal collective bargaining negotiator, health and safety advocates, and everything else that is within our movement to claim. Notions of labor transnationalism based on human rights. Right now in Canada, Canadian government entering into exploratory talk with China on having a potential Canada-China trade agreement. And how do you engage, for all of us, both in global south and global north, how do we engage with a country where the trade union, the trade union movement is part of the apparatus of this single-party regime? When workers, labor activists are being jailed and everything else that goes on. To me, I think that's part of the challenge. On one hand, sometimes I feel, well, if we get into trade agreements, there will be more opportunity to infuse some of the democracy values and all that into it, but I think there's more to it. And then lastly, I just want to make a final pitch. Good job for all coalitions is organizing a NAFTA forum on jobs and equity on December the 4th to kick off to sort of provide some context and some discussions for the last round of the NAFTA negotiations. Brother Hassan Youssef, as the president of CLC, will be speaking, along with Marjorie Cohen, who has done, economist, done a lot of work following women and the free trade agreements, will be the speakers. It will be at 7 o'clock over at the Steelworkers Hall in Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Winnie. Okay, I want to thank our panelists for
KMU in the Philippines. If you want to learn about what's happening in the Global South, this is a program for 10 days for workers and leaders to come to the Philippines. It's not just to have a fancy conference in Manila or whatever, but to get you out into the provinces to see what these workers are facing. It's a unique program, and I would really encourage anybody that wants to have an idea of how labor has fought in the Global South, what we can learn from them, because they've endured situations much worse than what we have, and yet there's a lot we can learn from them. And this is an active program to build labor solidarity, so I would hope that folks would take advantage of this and go out and see what you can learn. These workers have a lot to teach us.